Welcome back, everybody, to The Legend of the Last Airbender.
Hello, hello.
I am Tracy.
I am Johnny.
We are the Black Lotus Society, bringing you all the awesomeness that is the whole universe of Avatar. And, where are we at now?
We are now at Book 1, Chapter 3, and this episode's called The Southern Air Temple.
The Southern Air Temple. This one's pretty fun. Mm-hmm. This one is pretty fun. This is where, I feel like the show kind of really starts to take off.
Yeah.
This sets the tone for the rest of the show for the most part.
It starts to get more into pretty much the emotional stance of where the characters are and why. We
start fleshing these characters out a little more around this time. Mm-hmm. And it's good because, we need to start fleshing these characters out. I feel like the problem with a lot of shows is sometimes they take too long to really flesh characters out. If I have to wait for 10 episodes in to be I wonder who these people really are. It's you have to give me some semblance of a core character, and then we can develop that through the rest of the series. Because we already pretty much know who Qatar is. She's hopeful as fuck. That's really her character trait. We know Zuko. He wants his honor back. You know what I mean? We're kind of getting into Sokka. Sokka, his character development really blossoms throughout this series. Yeah. Aang is still kind of a mystery, but that's by design because, he's been frozen for 100 years.
But I like that they don't leave too much mystery. They're kind of unveiling things as they go along, but not kind of holding you back from too much information.
Well, yeah. I feel like with Aang, we're learning as he's learning or as it comes up. Because we learn in this series that he knows a lot of stuff, but unless somebody directly asked him, it's he's never going to be he's oh yeah, of course this. Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah, I've done, you know what I mean?
It takes for somebody to help him acknowledge what any information he has about what's going on, about what he knows about being the Avatar.
And I think a lot of that is because he's a kid too. You ask a kid to remember something, I'm like, the fuck?
He's a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah, he's essentially just a kid.
Yeah.
Doing kid shit. So, he's not gonna be thinking of all the important things on the top of his head all the time. So, it worked, character development wise. All right, so where are we starting this episode?
So, it starts off kind of on a scenic lake surrounded by cliffs, and they're just waking up on the side of the lake. And so it starts off, they're like, okay, come on, let's go to the Southern Air Temple or whatever. And you hear Katara, she's kind of hesitant to take him there because she knows. She's like, a lot can change in 100 years. And, Aang's like, oh, yeah, I know that, but he's still optimistically thinking about
what he's gonna find there. Yeah, he's hype. He's hype as fuck to go back. He's like, oh, you guys are gonna love all my friends and all this other stuff. And Sokka's just like, yo, I'm ready to go to sleep. This is bullshit. And Katara, she is protecting him, but she's not doing him any favors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's like you said, the way she worded it, a lot can change in 100 years. No.
I think she's trying to lightly put it because, think about it. All this stuff, all the things that have changed since Aang was last conscious in the world, which was 100 years ago, it could be a shock to him, actually seeing.
But even in the first episode, didn't she mention to him that the Airbenders were wiped out? She's like, we thought they were all extinct. Didn't she tell him that?
It's that thing where things still don't register yet, until you really see it with your own eyes.
This nigga need to get his shit together because that's a super form of denial. Because when people are still constantly hey, Fire Nation wiped them out. Hey, it's been 100 years. Hey, you're the last Airbender. Nah, no way.
You see how casually he's been kind of it's fine. It's
taking
cool,
everything in stride. Yeah, no way. That's crazy. I'm Aang.
I think he still thinks it's they're being dramatic about things and it can't be that bad because he feels that couldn't happen.
Yeah. So we get there. They're getting ready to go to the air temple and all that other stuff. We cut to Zuko, who is landing at what I'm assuming is a Fire Nation outpost.
Yeah.
And he runs into General Zhao. And General Zhao, for whatever reason, just does not like this motherfucker, right out the gate. He doesn't like Iroh either.
Because he's a teenage boy.
Yeah, it's he doesn't like these motherfuckers. So he's so they stop for repairs and stuff, and they're talking to Zhao, and Zhao's like, oh, what happened to your ship? So they couldn't just be like, oh, the Avatar fucked my shit up. But
their excuse was they ran into like an Earth Kingdom ship.
Yeah, or was it like an Earth Kingdom or like an iceberg or something like that? It was one of those. I think they said they did that. They were like, never seen an iceberg do that to a ship and all this other stuff. So their lie is bad. Like Uncle's the one who's telling the lie because Zuko just put him on the spot.
He's like,
he was like,
tell him.
yeah, there's a good reason for what happened. Uncle, tell him what happened. He was like, yo, what? Yo, hold on. He was like, all right, so what had happened was
amazing. It was crazy.
He was like, so tell me about this amazing crazy. It's like, what had happened was basically.
I've totally been put in that spot before, and I'd be like,
I hate that. He lies about what happened, but he does it terribly. Like, no smart person.
But of course, Zhao doesn't believe.
Yeah,
Zhao. I know. I just can't say it that way. It's
the Z that throws you off.
My tongue doesn't work like that. Zhao.
But yeah, and this kind of starts off this rivalry between Zhao and Zuko that happens pretty much through the whole series, honestly. Where it's just like, Zhao just hates this guy for no reason. He's looking for any opportunity to be like, fuck you, Zuko. Like, he's like, I'm your daddy's favorite motherfucker. Like, maybe that's it. Maybe he's got daddy issues too.
Probably.
Everybody in this show got daddy issues.
Yeah, I know, right? Daddy and mommy issues, huh?
Yeah, this is a daddy issue. Yeah, okay.
This is really like close to home for a lot of people.
Except for Aang, he ain't got no daddy. Or no mommy, according to them, apparently.
I guess the closest thing, well, we'll talk about him as we go along.
Pretty awesome.
So basically it cuts to
they're back. Yeah, they go back.
They go
Appa
to the Southern Air Temple.
Yep.
And Qatar again tries to break things to him softly that the Fire Nation most likely killed everybody.
Well, she says, she goes, the Fire Nation attacked. And he was like, nah, that's impossible because the only way you can get here is on a flying bison. And I was like, look, kid, I don't know what else you need.
Yeah, and he stays optimistic, theorizing that even if they did come to attack them, that they all must have escaped, got away somehow. And
it's just so. I mean, and it's like you said, it's extreme optimism. I even put it. He's in extreme denial because it's one thing to be like, maybe to be optimistic, like, okay, maybe they got away. But if people keep telling you. And then we're talking 100 years.
In his mind, he's so sure.
You got to listen to certain. Sometimes you just have to be like, okay, there's got to be a midway ground somewhere. Okay, maybe the Fire Nation attacked, but maybe they got away. But they're still going to be dead because it's been 100 years.
My first thought, hearing it so many times that the Fire Nation attacked the air temples and wiped them out. If I would have heard that so many times, eventually I'd be like, okay, let me prepare myself for some hurt.
Something. But he does. Anytime Qatar says something to him, he immediately is like, all right, check out this backflip. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, he is just like, yeah, that's enough of that.
He's trying to distract himself because he knows if he feels that pain, like, what do you do now?
And that's the thing. That's the part that I understand. Like, that's the development of him not wanting to acknowledge that he could literally be the last Airbender alive. And that's it. I don't blame him, but I also blame him.
But I think that also, I think it's heavy for him also because if he's the last Airbender, it's sort of kind of obvious he's tried to escape his Avatar duties.
Well, I mean, it's not even sort of obvious. He says he did.
Well, at this point, yeah. And I think that just confirms that if he did see that devastation, everything's solely on him.
Yeah.
It's dependent upon him to save Airbenders in general and the whole world, and that's the responsibility he doesn't want because it's so heavy.
Yeah. I mean, I could get that.
Yeah.
But he needs to get this shit together though, because
as we move on, basically, he says, they get there and they're like, we're home. But at this point, it cuts to Zuko, where he's sitting with Commander Zhao.
Yeah, they invite him for tea, basically. And he wasn't going to go, but Uncle's like, man, it's tea, motherfucker. Like, you can't turn down tea.
I know, he's all cool about it. He's like, what?
It's just tea. It's tea, man.
And Zuko, Zhao's going over the plan or whatever to basically take over the world. And Zuko's like, if my father thinks that the world's gonna follow him or whatever, he's a freaking fool. And that's when Zhao was like, he's like 10 years has done little to temper your tongue. Was it 10 years?
I think it was like 5.
I think he said 10.
That's a long ass time.
Yeah,
man.
no, that's what I was thinking. I don't
think it's 10. It can't be 10.
If you watch the episode, could have said 2, but it sounded like 10 because I
don't think he's been. I don't think he's been exiled that long because he's not that old. And then when we move on to it, you'll see that he's around the same age group when he challenges his father to Agni Kai.
Yeah.
Or when his father challenges him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's crazy. So I'm just gonna assume let's assume it's 2 years.
Okay, let's go.
Because I heard something about 2 years later on in the episode too. But basically, Zhao at this point is interrogating Zuko about
what happened,
the ship and stuff like that. And one of his soldiers come back and says, "Okay, we've interrogated the whole fleet or whatever."
And they said you found the Avatar and that he was beating the shit out of you, motherfuckers. He was like, "Yo, and this is the part to me. I was like, why didn't he, before they even got there? Why didn't him and get to the crew together? Be like, yo, we need a story."
Nobody talk about this.
Like, we don't, not even that, because you have to know that if you land on somebody else's port, they're gonna ask you what happened, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Especially since you're a fucking exiled prince. You know what I mean?
Zhao hates your ass.
Especially since Zhao hates your ass. Yeah, you have to be like, we have to get our story straight, all right? Everybody has to be on the same page. When this motherfucker asked you what happened, this is what happened. They didn't even, from what it seemed, they didn't even hesitate to be like, yo, the Avatar was on this ship causing all kinds of crazy stuff. There was a flying bison.
I know.
This girl air iced us. Like, it was fucking nuts.
What kind of loyalty is that? No loyalty.
These niggas was more than happy to tell everybody what happened. Like, come on, man.
Fuck this little ungrateful kid.
That's not even put in my notes. They should have got their story straight. Because, I mean,
he didn't think this through.
He didn't. I don't think he thought about it at all because he's so fucking angry. He was just like, we need this ship and we need to get the hell up out of here. Let's go. And I'd have been like, okay, look, I know I'm not like the leader or anything here, but shouldn't we all have a alibi or something?
I think his priority was just like, you know what, I'm just going to repair this shit, get back on it, and go find the Avatar. Like I said.
I mean, pretty much. He that's as far as he thought it through. And he should think it through better next time.
Yeah,
because this is the moment that defines the rest of this show in general. Mm-hmm. Because after this, everyone's searching for him. Everybody's looking. You know what I mean? It becomes now it's a race. Mm-hmm. It's fucking wacky races all up in this motherfucker. Like,
oh, and at this point, let's see.
So we get back to the Southern Air Temple, and this is Aang. He's showing Qatar and Sokka around. This is where I did this. This is where I did that. Not registering that he hasn't seen anybody
Airbender yet.
Anybody. You know, he even shows Airball, and Sokka's like,
that's how deep in denial he is. And
Sokka doesn't want to do it, but he's like, I'm here for Qatar, and he even tells her straight up, like, you cannot protect him forever. And she's like, but I'm gonna try.
But what the thing is, though, at this point when they're walking up and, you know, they see their little airball field.
Court. Yeah, it's an airball. I know it's a field. It's more of a field.
He's like, you know what? Screw it. Let's try out airball, and they play.
But I feel like Sokka does that for Katara because he does not seem enthused. He's like, all right, let's play some airball. I guess.
I feel like he's also trying to set Aang up to just feel calm or whatever, and feel like he's home.
I don't think he cares. I think this is all for Katara. I think he's doing it because Katara is protecting him, and he's not going to go over her.
True.
That's one thing I know. He respects her enough to not be like, I'm just going to tell him. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's like, look, you have to tell him. This is your thing. I'm going to give it to you.
You already know I'm about to just be blunt about it.
You know where I'm at. So this is up to you. You have to let him know. And he's like, all right, let's do this fucking airball thing. And he's getting mollywopped at airball because obviously he's not an airbender. It's not really fair.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
So he gets knocked off. And what Aang doesn't see, but what Sokka ends up noticing was a Fire Nation soldier helmet, basically, and he shows Qatar. He's like, look. She's like, oh man, we got to tell Aang. And she starts to call Aang, and then she's like, you know what, fuck it. And she just she covers it up with the snow. And he comes and he's like, what? And she's like, what would she say?
No, that's what she was like. He was like, that's when he was like, you can't hide this from him. Like you can't tell him forever. He's gonna find out. And she was like, I don't remember what she said, but it was something along the lines of well, you know, he doesn't need to find out this way or blah, blah, blah. But I felt like that would have been the best way, honestly,
But I think she
especially
was
as
like-
opposed to how he found
But she
out.
was like, you know what, F it. I tried to like talk to him about it, ease him into it, but I feel like I think she felt like, maybe seeing this, it would go a little too far, too quick.
But we're here now. Like, you're not going to be able to hide it. And then what you find is going to be so much worse. You know what I mean? Like,
And as we go on,
that form of denial is like, okay, two things have been said here. There are no more Airbenders and the Fire Nation attacked. You have to be able to put two and two together and be like, holy shit, the Fire Nation attacked and killed the Airbenders. You know what I mean? Like that. How do you not come to that conclusion?
he so seriously doesn't want to believe that that's real, that's true, because he couldn't fathom it at that point, because when he was alive, they were all there.
I have a question. How are the air nomads having kids if they're vowing like celibacy and shit? That doesn't make any sense. Hold on. Let me get this straight.
I do not know.
These are monks who are vowing chastity, celibacy.
I thought about this.
They're
too.
a life of no attachments.
Most of them
No, there was a woman there in one of the, and one of the one of
yeah.
that previous avatars was a
true.
female airbender. But how are they having kids if they're not? If this, they must be stealing children. Like, the only thing I can think of. Or
I gave it a little thought too, and I was just like,
okay, my thing. I think what's happening is
it's like a boarding school, and these parents that are airbender parents are sending their kids to this temple.
Okay, so that would explain that. But if you kill everyone at the air temples, it doesn't necessarily wipe out all the airbenders. There have to be people who are like, I'm not living like this.
Like air
there have to
nomads
be,
or
yeah,
something.
there have to. Well, that's the thing. There are nomads, but how are you You can't really be a nomad in a temple. You know what I mean? Nomads roam, so they're monks. You know what I mean? They are essentially monks.
Maybe the Fire Nation really did travel and ravage.
That's what I'm saying.
Every
Like,
airbender
there had to have been, like, and they never talk about it, but there had to have been like airbenders in cities and just chilling, like being with.
Well, I think it's like it could have possibly been like a situation where they knew that the next avatar was an airbender, and they just decided, we're just gonna wipe out every airbender we hear that exists.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that's what they did, but the question is, they outside of the northern and the southern air temples, how else were they finding these airbenders? Because the airbenders throughout all these shows, they just make it seem like, even in Legend of Korra, because we find out that his son, what's his name, Tenzin is practicing the monk shit, but he's got kids, so he's clearly not practicing well. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thing, because before this has to have happened, if Aang is the last airbender, that means that every airbender was found and caught, and I highly doubt that was easy. You know what I mean? That had to have that means they had to have found out that there was an airbender in a town, and instead of like interrogating, they just burned down the whole town.
That's what I'm saying. They've really had to go through extreme measures to eradicate.
That's just gonna rack my brain, because I have to know how they were making more airbenders if they're not fucking. Like, I just need to know. Maybe
what's the word I'm looking for when they
like in vitro? Oh, insemination. Ew, gross.
That's bad.
Here's some airbender jizz. Just go ahead and turkey base that into you. We need more. We need more airbenders, and we're not gonna get them this way.
It's highly possible.
Oh my god, this is gonna bother me forever now. All right, where were we? Where I got sidetracked with this bullshit.
At this point, this is when she hides the helmet because she doesn't want to hurt Aang.
Okay,
So Aang at this point he runs to the statue of a monk, and he's like, "This is monk Gyatso. He taught me everything I know." And stuff like that. And he's like optimistic, like almost like as if he's looking at the statue and
he's gonna be in there.
Like, oh, you know what? He's alive. You know?
That's weird that they built a statue to him while he was still alive, though.
Maybe they made a statue for everybody who oversaw the air temple.
It's a little arrogant.
It's
a little arrogant. Like, it's weird.
He was still alive, but they made a statue.
They're like, yeah, the monks, these people who don't value this kind of thing, yet there is a statue.
Or maybe there was a statue because he was taken out was probably one of the first to be taken out from the by the Fire
I
Nation.
felt like they were all wiped out at around the same time.
That's what I
like. They're not
thinking
gonna go.
too.
They're not gonna leave and then come back for a second round. They're like, we got to get it done now.
True.
So I felt like, so it's just weird. That means that statue definitely existed before the Fire Nation attacked.
He's like, hey, get a load of me right there.
Hey, you guys see this? The statue? That's me.
That's me.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Yeah. I mean, you got a statue? You got a statue? No, there's just a bunch of statues of all the avatars, and then there's me.
I know, right? A little
pretty,
arrogant for a
pretty
monk.
beast. Just saying, best monk ever. You know, the stats speak for themselves.
So as we go on, so it goes into a flashback, basically.
I hate this flashback, by the way.
Why?
Because it's just wag. It's just like, oh man, I love Monk Kiatsu. Let's throw pies at the other monks.
But listen.
No.
Listen.
No.
So it flashes back to, okay, so Monk Kiatsu, he's making these cakes or whatever, and he's talking
They look good.
They did, damn it.
Really good.
I hate cartoon food.
Cartoon
Looks so
food
damn
looks
good.
amazing.
But Aang was pretty much voicing his concerns about being the Avatar and possibly it being a mistake and saying he's not ready, basically. And Monk Gyatso starts saying, your questions will be answered when you're old enough to enter the Air Temple Sanctuary. Inside, you will meet someone who will guide you on your journey. When you are ready, he will reveal himself to you. And then he's like, he's like, are you going to help me throw these cakes?
Yeah, these air.
And they airbend the cakes, and it goes down on the heads of other monks.
And then this nigga tries to make it seem like it's a lesson. Oh, Aang, your accuracy is much better. I was
but
like,
it just
you
shows
get the
where
fuck out of here.
why he loved him so much.
Well, because he does explain that Kiatsu was like a father figure to him. And so, yeah, so I get that. And especially since he doesn't have a family, he is the closest thing to a dad that he has, which sucks for the rest of the little airbenders around there because who's fucking their dad?
Yeah.
Bullshit. You
had
a great childhood, Aang.
The flashback ends. I know, right? It was fun as hell. It seemed fun as hell on that air.
Bruce never knew his father from Finding Nemo. I never knew my father.
I was like,
Bruce. His name is Bruce. Fun fact, he was named after the shark from Jaws, whose name is Bruce.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, weird.
I seen Jaws like once. I didn't care much for it.
It's a cool movie.
Eh.
We're going to need a bigger boat. That was in Jaws.
Yeah, I know. I know.
In case you didn't know.
I know like some scenic things from it or whatever.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
All right. Anyways, Aang starts walking towards the sanctuary and he says there's someone he's ready to meet. Basically, he feels ready now. He wants to meet whoever's in there because he's hoping that they'll be in there.
Yeah, and Sokka's hoping that there's food. So
Yes.
he runs to the door and he was like, all right, you got a key or what? And he's like, no. And then he figures out that the key is airbending, and it's kind of whack. I don't know. Because I had a question about this door. Okay, so if the key is airbending, how does it close? Yeah. Like, we see the way he has to open it. You have to get the air in there, and it pushes all the things out of place so that it can open. How do they get back? How do you lock this door?
I'm guessing, it goes back, something clicks.
Then how do you get out? That's a loophole.
Speechless.
It's a huge oversight of this show, but it's not the only thing to do that because I feel like a lot of
Stop
shows.
thinking so deeply.
Well, I think about anything like Tomb Raider, Indiana Jones, anything where you have to like do a bunch of like puzzles to get to a place. The logic is dumb only because it's like, well, how do you get out?
Yeah, you do a whole bunch to get in. And
Who locked it?
Is there like an exit door?
That's what I'm saying. Like, who locked it? Who's the one? I was like, all right, I guess we're locking this door now. No one's allowed to come in here.
There's the emergency exit.
Because the treasure is always like a skeleton holding something. And it's like, so that guy locked himself in, but how? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
To die like that?
It doesn't. Yeah, he always does like on a throne room and stuff, just sitting there like he's.
He just sat there the
like
whole
he's still
time
alive.
dying.
He was like, all right, this is how I'm gonna die. This is a perfect pose. Oh man, it's gonna look so cool when someone comes in here in 1,000 years.
Does it not?
It does always look pretty fucking cool. It's like in Aquaman when he goes and finds that throne room and it's just sitting there with the Triton. Like, I was like, yo, that guy, that's a badass skeleton.
He's really been sitting there like that the whole time?
That is a badass skeleton.
See? Maybe
That skeleton
you gotta try it.
Yeah. What do you mean, try it?
One day.
Yeah, only one
When
day.
you go, if you get the chance to know when you're gonna go, just to sit somewhere, hold something cool, and just be like.
No, I've already decided.
right.
If I knew I was going to die, I'm picking a fight with the samurai.
Wow. I thought you said you wanted to be sent off like a
Viking?
Yeah, like a
no,
Viking.
yeah, after I'm dead.
Oh,
but if I know I'm going to die, I want to fight a samurai. I'm probably gonna get murdered, which is fine. I'm dying anyways.
It'd be like 1 second.
But I'm dying with honor. Well, most of those fights go like that anyway. They take like days to start because whoever attacks first usually loses. So they'll just sit there waiting like, you go. No, you go.
First?
No, you go. No, you go. No, I'm good right here. You go.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, where we at?
Oh, so that's when they go into the,
We cut back.
Yeah, we cut back to Qatar or whatever. Oh, yeah, no.
No, we cut back to Zhao.
And Zuko. And Zhao's like, you guys got beat by a 12-year-old?
He was like, little bitch.
Zuko's like, oh, I underestimated him or whatever.
It won't happen again.
And that's when he says, well, this is when he says in 2 years, he's like, he's been hunting the Avatar for 2 years. And Zhao's just like, you're off the case, basically.
Yeah, basically, he was like, so here's the deal. We're talking to my superiors. It's not you. They just think that we should go a different direction, and we're going to use all of your information, and I'm taking over the case now.
Nah, he didn't say it like that.
I know. He was like,
fuck
you, bitch.
He said it more like a angry head investigator or something. And
you're off the case, buddy. Get out of here.
Your badges are windbreakers now.
Windbreakers?
I got that from Community. In an episode, like Shirley.
Right. Turn in your firebending and your badge. Stupid.
Exactly.
And your ponytail. That is property of Fire Nation.
And your burn sticker.
Your burn sticker. Just
I was so badass.
Come on, man. It was so cool. People thought I had a really troubling past. No. So then we cut back again. There's no food, and then Momo shows up. And Sokka tries...
Before Momo shows up, and before he's named Momo, they see a whole bunch of those statues in the sanctuary.
Yeah, all the little the avatars of past.
And Aang saying he don't know them or whatever, but he feels like he does, and he sees... and he realizes they're past avatars. And Sokka's like, he doesn't believe in any of that stuff. I mean, he didn't live through it.
Well, yeah,
he didn't live through it.
And also, I mean... This is the thing too, because we had mentioned before in the other episode, the Sokka and Qatar have never left they've never left their home.
Yeah.
So everything they know is hearsay. The Fire Nation, besides that ship, they don't know. They've never seen firebending up close. They're just now meeting an airbender. They don't know what earthbending looks like. There's a lot of shit going on here that they have no clue about.
Yeah.
So this is I mean. Katara believes it more because she's a waterbender and she's got the magic, according to Sokka. Sokka's kind of like, I believe in what I can see.
And he saw the ship, so he believed in.
He knows the Fire Nation was there. Yeah, he believes in that. And, his dad left.
Yeah.
He believes in that. You know what I mean? He believes in what he can tangibly see and explain. He's a scientist at heart. Yeah. You know what I mean? In which we find out later down in the series that he is. He's definitely a scientist at heart. Yeah. So I don't blame him for being like, man, fuck this shit. Yeah. You guys are full of your goofy little witch magic.
He goes just strictly based off of fact. Like, this is what's happening. This is what we need to do. And
he's not a heart guy. Even though he's got a lot of heart, he's not a heart guy. This is what needs to happen. This is what is happening. We cannot focus on what could or what may or what we feel like. There's no pep talks. He's like, what is going to happen? Like, I like that about Sokka.
Yeah.
He's cool.
He is cool.
So you were saying?
And let's see. So Aang sees one statue that he has an instant connection with, and instinctively he was like saying like, "Oh, that's Avatar Roku."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't know how I know his name or whatever." And they start to hear footsteps at this point, and they're like freaking out, thinking it's a firebender, and they're hiding and stuff. Sokka's like, not gonna know what hit him. And
if it was one firebender, he would have been fucked.
Yeah,
he would have been pretty fucked
against all three of them. He would have messed up. But so they see a lemur, a large-eared lemur, and which is not named yet. And
his name is Momo.
He's not named yet. He who was not named yet. And Aang is like, ooh, I want to keep him as a pet. And Sokka's like, fuck it, I'm going to eat him.
I want food.
He's like, I'm hungry as hell.
So they're chasing him down in what is one of the stupidest chase scenes I've ever seen. Because it's like, all right, Aang, you're being kind of a dick. Because you've got them on this journey to this air temple. They haven't eaten. Sokka's been telling you he's been hungry this whole episode. Let this man live. Let him get some food.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, he's a little dick, man. Just
let him eat.
And then he's just being an asshole using his air bending to make sure Sokka can't catch up. Like, what a fucking dick, man. Fuck this guy.
And then what happens next?
So, yeah, let me see. They basically capture Momo. Momo brings some food to him and stuff like that. Don't they get him to capture him?
Oh, that was before that, though. That's when it cuts to Zhao. You know I have a hard time saying it. Yeah. And he's saying they got a search party ready to go get the Avatar or whatever. And Zuko's pretty much vowing he's going to find the Avatar.
They're arguing, basically. He was like, nah, I'm going to do it. I don't give a fuck what you say. And he was like, look, that's why, he's like, hey, last time you were arguing with someone above you. Didn't go too well. He was like, what? You little bitch, I challenge you to an Agni Kai. And then Uncle was like, come on, man, no. And he was like, no, fuck this guy. I swear I could take him. And Zhao was like, all right, me and you, sundown, bruh. Let's make it happen.
And that's when it goes back to Aang chasing the lemur or whatever. He goes chases the lemur down, and they go to this place or whatever. And that's where he finds the remains of
Kiatsu,
the fallen airbenders. And
most importantly, Kiatsu, whose clothes are still intact.
Yeah, nobody else's.
Nobody else's, just his.
And so Sokka walks up to him. He's crying on the floor, Aang, and all of a sudden, Aang's arrows start to light up. And at this point, it cuts to Qatar. She's still in the sanctuary, and sees the Avatar statue's eyes are glowing. Avatar,
all of them.
Yeah, it starts off with Avatar Roku's, and then all of a sudden, all of them light up, and then it cuts to sacred temples all around the world being
like
lit up.
A beacon.
Yeah.
And that's like that, and that's crazy to me. That's the part that tripped me out, because it was like, this isn't the first time he's gone into the Avatar state. So why are they all just lighting up now?
That is a good question.
Because when I was watching that, I was like, okay, the statues are one thing. Maybe it's the proximity, right? It's the proximity he is to the statues and his energy. Maybe that's why they lit up. But the ones around the world, if they are basically in tune to his energy, why not?
What I think about it is, as this whole journey goes through, he starts getting closer spiritually. There's
a lot of spiritual weirdness happening in this show.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like because especially this hits so close to home, like him about to die, falling off the ship, and him going into the Avatar state was for protection, basically. But this time it was his connection to his spirituality and home. And I feel like no,
I was gonna say I'll allow it,
but also setting up the scene for, I feel like all these events that happen, good and bad, of course, are setting him up to fulfill his destiny and how things are supposed to go. That's my theory.
Yeah, I'll allow it. Okay, when you say it makes more sense, but it's still kind of like super convenient. Like,
I know,
because then I'm looking at all the beacons light up. People are like, "Holy shit, that's crazy!" And then, "Holy shit, that's crazy!"
But it works.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
But it works though, because it is a deeper thing than just straight what you can see or what Sokka believes or anything like that. It does have a lot to do with spiritual energy and things like that. So
you're right. So he goes Avatar state. He goes nuts and starts just winding everything around him. And then we cut back to Zhao and Zuko. Mm-hmm. They're getting ready for this Agni Kai, man. And the fight itself is good. Mm-hmm. It starts off with Zhao having the upper hand due to his experience and everything like that. And then Uncle basically tells Zuko, like, hey, calm the fuck down. Learn to go through your basics. Mm-hmm. Stop trying to do the most. And he does, and it works. He basically he
finds a way to overpower Zhao.
He breaks his base.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He starts, going for his legs. It throws him off balance, and he wins. And then he's like, "Yeah,
and he could have finished him off." He
was like, "Finish me, go ahead and do it." He was like, "Nah, son, I'm not you. I'm not you little bitch."
And then he firebends the ground beside him, or whatever, and he's calling him a weak little bitch.
Yeah. And then he's about to walk away, and then Zhao tries to hit him with the sucker punch. Iroh wasn't having this, and this is the thing. Iroh is clearly the strongest firebender in this fucking show.
You didn't even see it coming, though.
Nobody did.
He like was just like, fuck that.
Iroh just caught that fire in his hand and was like, nah, I need you to chill the fuck out, bro. You lost fair and square. Go cry in a corner, you little bitch. And let's move on. We're out of here.
You know what's crazy about this? Like, Iroh has a real, you start to realize, like, he's really powerful at
Very
this point.
powerful.
You didn't see it coming. Like, he was like, oh, fuck that. Grabbed his foot and just pushed him away. But also later on in the show, you realize he has a deep spiritual connection. And I feel like that's why he doesn't take action, too much action trying to help Zuko, because there's a destiny that needs to be fulfilled and he knows it.
And he keeps talking about it too. And he that's why later on in the series you see like his disappointment in certain things that Zuko does, because he was like, this isn't who you are, even though it's what they're telling you. Like, that's not the same, and we'll get to that.
That's what he was telling Zhao. He's got more honor than you.
That's what I'm saying. That's the second season is the best season, period. It's got some great stuff in there.
Can't wait to get into that.
Oh, yeah. So then we get back, we get back to Katara and Aang and Sokka. And Qatar basically calms him down, like, hey, it's cool. All your friends are dead, but we're your family now. It seems a little like, creepy. But she's like, yeah, we're your family.
We're your family, even though we've known you for like, what?
A couple of days max?
2 or 3 days at the most.
And then he was like, oh, what happened? I'm sorry. Did I go crazy again?
But that's when he finally breaks down and
acknowledges what happened.
Admits, he's like, you know what? I'm really the last Airbender. I'm really the last Airbender in this bitch.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, buddy, you are. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to find out this way, even though we told you 100 times. But it's cool.
But it took for him to really see things, for him to really like be able to register it and be like, okay, so it's not a fucking joke.
Yeah, then that's when Momo brings Sokka the food.
Oh, yeah. And that's when he's like, we'll name him Momo.
Yeah. And then they leave. Tis the end of the episode. Finn.
Oh, it's starting to grow. Starting to grow from here.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, I mean, this episode was dope to me. Mostly, I like most of the Zuko stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like, it was good to, one, see other firebenders with names. Yeah. You know what I mean? To have somebody important. And it starts to introduce more of this world. Yeah. Now we're getting more characters. We know that Zhao is now looking for the Avatar. The beacon lit up, so we know that other people know that the Avatar is at least at the bare minimum alive.
Yeah. At that point, when they were showing the temples all over the world light up, you see at one of the firebending temples.
Yeah. I think it's
like, tell the Fire Lord or whatever. And so I think in the next episode is when you'll see the information relayed to the Fire Lord. And I think that's when he starts taking action, and it's going to start getting crazy. Yeah, so it gets really good. I've been watching, like, even between our episodes and stuff like that. I've been going through the episodes over and over again. Man.
It's good stuff.
It is.
It's good stuff. Yeah. I got nothing else. This is pretty much it.
If we say too much more, it's just going to be going too far into the season and in later seasons, but we'll get to that later on.
Yes, we will. So, episode 3, episode 4 coming soon. I don't know what else to say.
Next week, right?
Yes, next week.
Got this. All right. How do we end this again? We need to come up with a little outro.
I know. I'm not good at that, man. I'm good at coming in. I don't know how to come out.
We'll come up with something next time. We'll got you guys next time.
I mean, for then, it's, Water Tribe for life. Water Tribe. So, yeah. Bye.
Black Lotus Society signing out. Boom. No?